Welcome to episode 32 of the Old Fashioned Podcast. I'm back this week with Clintus and Mike. Did you have fun without me last week?
I think we did.
Oh yeah. I was actually Mike asked like how the dynamic was with verse 3 versus 2, and I basically said, you know, you two have been doing this a long time and you have history, right? So for you two, it's just like, I mean, you guys talk all week long anyway, right?
Yep.
So it's like just finding my groove of not being a third wheel, right? Like it's the triangle effect. And so when one of you guys aren't here, because it was you and I first, Mike wasn't here, and then the next week it was Mike and I. So I don't know. I feel like we've done it now enough times now that I've found my groove. And so whether it's the 2 or 3, I think it's good.
Cool. I'm glad you had fun without me. I didn't listen to the full episode. I listened like the first half hour, but I love the snippet about meeting the wives. Actually, on that note, Dream Kevin cheated on my wife again last night. So I came home from the gym.
Damn you, Dream Kevin.
Mike, you've been in my house. So Danielle does her makeup in the closet. So I'm walking in my bathroom, you know, the straightaway to the closet. I'm walking in my bathroom and she just pokes her head out like to the door and just squints her eyes and stares dagged at me. And I'm like, what? And she's just looking at me. I'm like, oh my God, did Dream Kevin cheat on you again? She goes, with my sister and my best friend.
Oh my God. Dream Kevin is devious.
All morning I've been paying penance for something I didn't do. So
damn
she didn't give Dream Kevin enough Claritin.
Yeah, seriously. That's I'm gonna text her that right now. I'm gonna say Clintus said you should give Dream Kevin more Claritin. Let's see where this is.
I'm just looking at the window of my hopefully my marriage in the next like 10 years. So you know, as long as it's this good natured fun, I'll be okay, right?
Yeah,
out.
I mean, your wife is going to be delirious, Paul, because she's not going to get any sleep for probably well over a year, which means she's going to be more irritable, which means that you're going to get blamed for more stuff that you probably didn't do, and you just have to nod and say, "Of course, yeah, no, I'll take care of that." Absolutely.
So the pregnancy, I didn't do it, but I get blamed for it. Happens well throughout the whole first like 2 years, even though she's not pregnant anymore.
Welcome to life,
Paul. Let me give you a clue. Don't ever say I didn't do it in reference to your wife's pregnancy. You will get
I never have,
probably
and I never
physically
will.
assaulted because you definitely played a part.
That is a hot tip.
Played the fun part, and she's got to do all the work. So don't ever repeat that to her. Got it?
Learned it. Yes, sir. I'll salute that one.
I'm like his marriage mentor on things not to say to his wife. But yeah, so I'm glad you all had fun without me. Real quick, getting house cleaning out of the way. King's Coast Coffee, they announced on social media today that the next cold brew drop is coming very, very soon. And I will say this, that Tim is very excited about the next cold brew drop. All right, there you go. Tim's very excited about the next cold brew drop. Valley High sold out, and obviously we're waiting for the next cold brew. So head over to kingscoastcoffee.com. Make sure you're part of the Kings Club. Make sure you sign up for the mailing list because that's how you find out about all these products. Like Valley High, the Kings Club got it first, and then it was gone shortly thereafter. So make sure you sign up and get involved over there. GCX is less than a month away. GCXevent.com. Tons of panels. No live old fashioned. But if you do want to see, all of us will be there. Clintus will be around hanging out. Mike will be there working with me. And, we'll be hanging out. And who knows? Maybe, I don't know, we'll get a drink and record an episode on somebody's phone for 5 minutes. We'll see what happens.
You just got to tell me. That's all it is.
Yeah. Be like, Paul, get down here. We're at the bar and we're recording an episode. Actually, Mike, we should do what we did in 2019. In my room, remember?
In the piano room?
Yeah, because, well, no, I didn't. Did I have it? I don't know. Ben had the piano.
Ben had the piano room.
When you first got there, you, Pete, me, Wayne, and my father-in-law were just drinking.
Oh, yes.
Telling story. That picture's framed in my house.
Yes.
Aww. Yeah, it's so cute, right, Clinton?
That was a great, dude. That was
we hadn't seen each other in a year, so yeah, it was a fun time. But Wayne's not coming this year because he, end quote, I will never come back to Florida again, end quote, according to Wayne.
He's definitely not coming.
Is it because the lightning?
He's a big guy.
Is it because the lightning beat them?
No, it's because of the weather and all that stuff.
Listen, I figured he'd be that petty, so just
he could be. Who knows? But GCXevent.com /tickets. After Dark tickets are also out. We got a great comedy show lined up for you. Some great comedians, including Ryan Niemiller, who was on America's Got Talent, and he's a Destiny player, plays with Jay Sniperton. So I hope he lights the Destiny community on fire in a very comedic and funny way. Had to say that. Also, by the way, speaking of Destiny, because it has nothing to do with it, but it does because people made it have something to do with it. Division came out with an update today.
Hold on, time out. How are the Destiny people slamming the Division now?
No, I'm just saying because they always used to compare the two games.
Oh,
even though
yeah,
Division
yeah,
is more like
yeah.
Diablo than it is like Destiny.
Yeah.
But people don't have the cognitive thought to really go through the process of understanding that they're two completely different games. That the only similarity they have is loot.
Yeah. Because
That's
Destiny's the
literally
first and only game to come out with a loot system.
That's it.
It's amazing.
Borderlands was definitely not there before. Every MMO.
Do you remember the guy? There was a Twitter guy, Destiny boy. Oh shit! What game was it?
There's a lot of those, Mike.
I know, but it was when I think it was. Oh, what was that shit BioWare game that released?
Oh,
Anthem?
Anthem. Yes. You and I were talking about Anthem when it was the early stages on Twitter, like early, and we were getting excited about it before we even knew really what it was. And some Destiny boy comes in and goes, "Fuck, you guys are just fanboys." Like, how are we fanboying something we know nothing about? You immediately said it's a ripoff of Destiny, and you know nothing about it. You don't know if it's first person or third person. Thankfully, it turned out to be third person. This guy had to eat his own words, which was awesome. But yeah,
that game felt like Division, but you could fly. That was awesome.
So good. I loved it.
I had fun with Anthem.
I love the Division.
Terrible.
I love the Division.
Division's great. It's hard to get back into, and it's hard to pick up at random intervals because it's a min-max game. So every time you pick up the game, essentially you're starting from scratch.
Yeah,
it's true.
Based on the meta. So it is what it is. But maybe I'll pop in and play some of the missions and see how I feel again. But I've actually been playing no build Fortnite at home.
Really?
Yeah, it's fun with no building. It's
a great couch
game.
game.
Clean shooter. Yeah, it's fun.
I reinstalled it because I told everybody if they came out with no build, I would play it again. And so I installed it. I even surprised people on stream one time. I just pulled it up on my screen. They're like, "Holy crap!" I'm like, don't get too excited. I'm not excited to play it. I just it'll happen eventually.
Is no build is that a permanent fixture now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think because you can switch between the modes, and there's like way too many people that are so amped on no build, so I have a feeling it'll always be an option from here.
Yeah, my understanding is a lot of people left that game when the build spam just became unreal. Like,
I mean, that became the meta of the game.
You'd engage in a fight, and in a 2-second period, somebody was putting up a hotel complex, like an apartment complex is going up in front of you, and you're like, what?
Yeah. Yeah, that was basically like, the spinning, like literally just building a tower,
Mm-hmm.
and you're trying to shoot somebody and they're just throwing walls up, like a Marvel of battle where they're just like ting 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 ting.
Yeah.
And so that's what it came into, and so it turned into a basically like this is what the game is now. So either you like it or you don't, and that's when it split. Either people kept playing that and played that version, or they moved on.
I can respect the innovation when Fortnite came out with the building.
Mm-hmm.
It got majorly abused, and it felt like it wasn't even what the genre was about anymore. So it's cool to see them move in this direction. Definitely,
I like options.
Players. Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Make options for people.
Options are great.
Yeah, that's it. Like I think they're doing it right. They're like, here, you don't like building? We made a whole mode where you don't have to build. Enjoy.
Smart. And I'm not like the biggest Fortnite fan. I enjoyed Apex, believe it or not. I really enjoyed Apex Legends.
I heard everyone's shitting on the new update.
I haven't played it in a while. It's been several seasons I haven't played it, but I enjoyed it when I played it. So I'm curious with Fortnite no build how if I would like that or not.
Give it a whirl. It's free.
The fun thing is, this all started with the MMOs, right? A few weeks ago, installing those and playing those. I've been on this variety kick where I've literally been installing games and just trying stuff out, going back to old games. So Tuesday was my 5-year Twitch partner anniversary, right? So we went back and watched like old highlights from, I even went back to like YouTube to pull videos from like the very first, the recorded stream that I have on my channel of streaming on Twitch was actually 2007. I played Destiny with my son. We did Prison of Elders, and I streamed it from my PlayStation. And still, the VOD is on my or the highlights on YouTube, so we watched that and everything. But anyway, watching all the highlights and clips, I played a crap ton of PUBG when it first came out. That first summer it came out, I beta tested it. And so watching all those clips and all those highlights, I was like, man, I wonder what PUBG feels like these days. So I went and reinstalled PUBG, and I played that the last couple of days. I really like it. Like, I forgot how much it's way slower. The mid game's slow. The battles are a lot slower. The TTK feels like it's much higher than like even Call of Duty. Because I played Warzone yesterday just for the new event, just to play Warzone and then go play PUBG and kind of get a feel for it. I mean, Warzone is Call of Duty. It's fast. It's twitchy. You're sliding. You're jumping. You're tactical running. But you've got like all these armor plates, and so it feels like it takes a while to kill somebody, right? Kind of like Apex, where it's like you got the shields and stuff, and so it takes a while to kill somebody. PUBG, it's like tap tap and you're dead, and you're like, oh shit. Feels more like Tarkov. It's like the Tarkov BR. So since I play Tarkov so much, and that's like my main game, I have really am enjoying PUBG again. And so they've completely changed it. It's like every other BR now. There's a battle pass, and there's boxes and skins and like dailies and weekly quests to unlock cosmetics and stuff like that. So they've fleshed it out. There's 5 maps, and there's different game modes. There's a casual mode where you play against bots, and then there's an arcade mode, and then there's the regular mode. And I'm really enjoying PUBG again. It's weird.
I mean, that's cool in my opinion. Going back and playing a game and seeing how they changed it and enjoying it. I was watching you yesterday, I think, playing PUBG for a little while. And then I watched, I think it was Monday, you played Icarus or something. But yeah, I was watching you play PUBG, and you were genuinely enjoying yourself. I know Tim had told me when him and Lupo went back, I think it was a few years ago at this point, to play PUBG, they were constantly comparing it to like COD and all that stuff, and they were like, it's not the same. So Tim's playing Blood Hunt right now, the Vampire Masquerade.
Vampire one.
Oh yeah.
He's obsessed. He will not shut up about how great it is. Even at the gym this morning, he was like, I was like, what are you playing today before you go to Disney? And he was like, oh, I'm probably going to play Masquerade again. I was like, you're obsessed. He goes, I can't get enough. He's like, I really do enjoy solo and playing with myself. I was like, oh, do you, Tim? You do enjoy playing with yourself. That's good. I'm glad.
Yeah, people have been saying I need to try that out. Like I almost actually downloaded it the other day, but again, it's kind of like a queue system. Like, I want to try this one, then I'm gonna try this one. Yeah, it's in the queue.
What is it?
There's
Steam?
Yeah, it's on Steam. Yeah, I think it's free. It's free to play.
Really?
But another game that I just got into. So two new games. One's in alpha, one's in beta. Marauders is a space Tarkov, and it is like they're trying to be like they're copying like everything from Tarkov. So it's Tarkov, but not as good at Tarkov. It's like Tarkov from like 7 years ago, before all the updates and shit. It's janky. It's cool. You start off in a spaceship, and you literally have to fly into like a base to like attack, and everyone else is doing the same thing. So imagine like a BR where everyone starts and everyone has to run into the circle in the middle, like Hunger Games. Mm-hmm. It's like Hunger Games style. You can blow each other's ships up too before they even get there. Like, so you just sit back and just start shooting them with your ship. Get in, turns into first person mode. It's weird though, because it's 1992. That's the year this game takes place. We are using old World War II submarines and boats as spacecraft. And then you get into the game and it's all World War II weapons and stuff. It's all World War II stuff. So the World War II like decimated the planet, and like we've just kind of salvaged and survived over the last couple decades. And so it's in the 90s. Like, it says 80s and then 90s, and that's what the game you're playing. And so it's very janky, like it's very alpha. I see potential, but like, again, coming from someone who plays Tarkov and loves Tarkov, there's no reason for me to play this. This is a game for people who like Tarkov's too punishing for them. This would be a good like lighter version, but the mechanics are identical. Stash, secure containers, mods, crafting, all that stuff.
Did you ever play Vigor or Viger Clintus?
I didn't, because it's console.
Is it console only? Is that?
It's free to play on PlayStation. Yep, it's free to play. So that's the closest console version of like a Tarkov-esque game.
Interesting, because Tim had told me, like, he was like, if you want like Tarkov Lite, play this, because I had gotten a code from Mixer like that long ago. Mm-hmm. And I have it downloaded. I just haven't touched it because I'm still playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Nice. But which I've made significant progress in the past few weeks, because I've just every night I sit down, I'm like, okay, bang out an hour, just chop some heads off and make some progress.
Yeah.
But yeah, because maybe I'll give that a whirl. The problem I have with Tarkov is this. I love the game. I think it's fantastic. The systems are great. It feels good. It's a little janky at times, but nothing that's alarming.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is if you don't invest into the game literally every day, you have problems with the game itself. So like you can't advance as quickly as other people, and then people get stacked, and then the second you load in, you're going to get shot in the face by someone who's got better guns, better gear, better everything. So, you know, once you're halfway through a season or something, it seems like the balance kind of tips away from you. And that's what I don't like about Tarkov, is that I don't have the time to invest in it because I'm not a hardcore person. So that would be my thing.
It's interesting though, because like right now we're in the middle of we're in the middle of a season, if you want to call it that. Like the wipe's coming some probably like June or July. Everyone starts back to zero, and so
Clintus
there's this.
weird. Hold on.
There's this dichotomy. Doing a wait or. We're good. Okay. So there's this like dichotomy where like the super giga chads are like. They're just PvPing, right? They've got stacks of cash, they've got all the gear, best bullets. They're just running around PvPing at this point. But like half of them have moved. They go play other games now that they've kind of maxed everything out, unlocked everything. They move on to other games, and then you got like the little Timmies who are still trying to like quest and level up and learn the game's mechanics. And every raid you load into, you never know what you're gonna get dealt with, right? There could be some chads, there could be some Timmies. So there's still like even to this day, like I'll run into like level 5s, and like people are still just getting into the game and just playing. So it is a roll of the dice. You never know what you're going to run into. You could be solo and run into a 5 stack. You could be 5 deep and run into nothing but singles, and you're fighting for kills. So yeah, there is definitely a weird spot there. But one last thing I just wanted to say, another game, and to transition this and to talk about what you're talking about. I've never played Rust. I've never played Rust before.
Me neither.
I played DayZ. When I asked people about DayZ or Rust, I was like, which one do you think I like more? And I was like, I think you'll like DayZ better. So I played DayZ. But there's a new game called Dystera. And it is a sci-fi first-person shooter survival game. And you pick a server, you load a character. You can either play a PvE server or PvP server. And there is PvE as well, so it's PvP, PvE. And it is amazing. I absolutely love it. To me, it is damn near the perfect game for me. Like, it has everything that I want in a video game. It's a sci-fi backdrop. There's the, like, if you die, all your loot hits the ground like Tarkov. So you go back to your body to pick it up. It's a perpetual world, though. So, like, when you log out, your character just hits the floor and goes to sleep, and someone can walk up to you and gank you and kill you and take all your shit. So you have to, like, build a base with defenses and, like, and your character, like, the server is perpetual, right? Kind of like an MMO, but your character doesn't disappear. It stays in the game. The cool thing is that the planet is destroying itself. It's Earth. We've been terraforming and pulling this, like, terracite stuff out. That's, like, this asteroid metal. The planet is on a ticking time bomb. You have to do all, and I don't know what happens at the end. I don't know what happens, but if you don't leave the planet, your character dies. You just start from scratch, which I just found out because I haven't played in about a week. I logged back in and I started from scratch. I'm like, that's weird. I'm on this server. Oh, the planet destroyed itself, so I had to start from scratch. When I log back in, the planet's different. Things are slightly different than the last time you played. So the map kind of changes every time it blows up.
So it's a world that's alive when
it's gathering, crafting, building. You have skill points with your character, so you XP level up. There's missions and quests. It's awesome. I really, really, really enjoyed it. It's still beta. Like the gun fights aren't like super crisp and clean. Like it feels like a PUBG, Tarkov kind of like gunfights. But I love what they're trying to build in this. And now I'm kind of curious, is this what Rust is, but like in a modern setting? Like I'm kind of curious maybe to go install Rust and play that.
Man, Rust feels like Rust feels like a mountain to me. I don't know why.
Well, I mean like, again, going from DayZ, like DayZ is like so literal, like down to the point of like when you kill a chicken and you skin the chicken, make sure you wash your hands before you eat because you'll get salmonella poisoning. You find a bottle of water, make sure you dump it out and put fresh water in. You lost blood, you have to find a blood bag and a needle to pull blood out to save it for later. If you cooked your meat and you put it in your bag, be careful. You get too hot, you'll overheat because you put too much hot meat in your jacket. Like DayZ is like fine tooth, like, you know, mixing board.
Jeez.
And so I don't know if DayZ is that granular either, but DayZ is more on the building side where you're like, I mean, you can build bases in DayZ, but you don't have to. Like, you could just keep running around living just fine with no bases. Rust is like you have to build a base and have defenses and keep up your power and energy and water and all that.
That sounds more fun. People enjoy DayZ.
Oh yeah,
Sounds like real life.
Oh my god.
Just why?
That
I
just
play video games
seems
to get away from
like
that.
it's arduous. Like, oh.
Isn't DayZ mostly like modded at this point too? Like
Yes.
that's the allure of it. Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, Rust can be too, but not to the same extent.
I just hear bad. Like I hear about the community in Rust. Like, but
Yeah.
I always take that with a grain of salt because I feel like every competitive community has toxicity. You know, like even the big esports ones. It's like, but I've just heard stories where you have to get into a creator server where it's all creators, because otherwise, if you're just in a public server, people just say the most heinous shit, and you're like,
Yeah. Like a Call
Sounds
of
like
Duty lobby.
GTA RP almost, but like
Or
not.
GTA RP, yeah.
Well, people do DayZ and Rust RP. I've seen a bunch of streams with that, so that definitely is a thing. Polygon put out an article for the 14 most exciting games of the summer. Keep in mind it's Polygon, so we'll take it with a grain of salt. But I wanted to run through the games real quick and see what you all thought. So the first one is a game I've never heard of called Gloomhaven Jaws of the Lion. It's a tactical RPG based on the board game of the same name. And I've never heard of it.
me either.
Never.
Yeah, so I don't know.
Good job, Polygon. Strike one.
Cool if you're into that. The second one is the actual full game for Vampires, the Masquerade Swan Song. So it had been delayed because of COVID. They released the BR.
It's a smaller studio, right? Doing that?
I forget the name of the studio.
Big Bad Wolf.
Big Bad Wolf. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because they had Bloodlines 2, which was pushed back indefinitely. So this is a continuation. I guess it's a different story. This one's in Boston, which is cool. I just went to Boston twice. I would probably give this. I've never played the vampire games. I watched Co play one of them, and I was like, I'm down for this. Single player RPGs are my jam. So
Right.
yeah, there's a good chance I'll give this a whirl. Sniper Elite 5. I love the Sniper Elite games. It's this weird dichotomy of soothing and deadly. I don't know. Like, it's just cool. And the way that the animations, when the bullets hit people and they show the body and how it enter, I don't know. It's cool. I like the Sniper Elite games. They're fun. So I would just say it's an update based on the Sniper Elite franchise. And if you're into that, you're into that. Diablo Immortal releases this summer. Michael.
Dude, I've already, I don't know how many videos I've watched. Full transparency, I've the Asmongold one, of course I had to watch. But the breakdown of how it's already pay to win, I'm with that being said, in all fairness, Diablo is very min-maxy, we all know.
Mm-hmm.
I love playing seasons, but I don't go out of my way to get every freaking piece of gear ancient. You know, so the ultimate min-max is not something I do. I do min-max to a build, and that's about it. So when it says pay to win, are we talking about the 1% that actually truly min-max to, you know what I mean, all the way? In which case, I'm not that person. So in all reality, it doesn't affect me. If it affects you, I'm sorry, but
I've come to grips with the fact that I don't need to be the best in a game anymore, and I need to stop trying because that's what frustrates me. Like the fact that I can't raid and WoW like at the pace that everyone else is and all that stuff. It's just life has surpassed that point where I'm able to do that. So instead of getting upset at a game I might enjoy, maybe just do what you can and enjoy your time in it. And that's the end of it.
Is it pay to win? I'm sure if you go all the way out that far, yeah. And that would suck, and that does suck for those players, but I don't know how much does the pay to win impact, you know, we'll call it the middle class player. Right? Like the in between who do put in the work, but they don't put in the astronomical amount of hours. Like if it impacts the middle guy, yeah, I could see that being frustrating. and irritating, and I probably wouldn't even engage with it. But it's what I expected. It's what everyone expected. It's a mobile game.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's a mobile game. I mean,
can you explain the seasons? You mentioned seasons, and someone else mentioned that as well. How does the seasons work in Diablo?
So there's different modifiers. Each season he'll have different modifiers as well as gear set rewards. And there's, what is it, 4? Call them acts, but there's 4 journey progressions that you go through. Is it 4 or is it more?
I believe it's 4.
I think it's 4. And as you progress, there's a series of, we'll call them quests or tasks that you have to complete. And as you complete the tasks, you complete that act or that journey, and you'll get a reward for that page. And usually the 4th one is a full gear set for that season. And during the season, there's modifiers, like maybe there's increased treasure trolls, or, elite enemy packs have a certain modifier, and so it's just a constant leveling season. I think Diablo did a great job reinventing itself, Diablo 3, in that sense, and it really added longevity. I think they're stretching it at this point. It's kind of, what season are we in? 23 or 24?
It's mid-20s, yeah.
Like,
is your character reset, or
yes.
or like your levels and stuff?
They'll add your character to the pool of characters that are not in the. Let me rephrase. If you play hardcore and you survive the season, they'll move your character to the regular pool. Are you familiar with hardcore, Clintus?
No, I've never played Diablo.
You can't die in hardcore. If you die, you lose everything in your character.
Okay.
Which in Diablo can be incredibly difficult depending on
sure,
how
especially if you have like a lag spike.
Yeah. So if you play hardcore, they'll move your character to the regular pool. So essentially you're trying to get all of these rewards that you can in the season, and then once the season's over, your character gets moved to the regular pool of characters, and you can start a new one the next season.
How often is that?
Like every 6 months, Mike?
Yeah, something like that. Every so many weeks they come out with a new one.
And you get to keep anything from the previous season?
Yes. So
you get to keep everything you get.
Everything you get, you keep. It sends it to your stash.
And some of it only. No, it doesn't reset. You keep it. You keep your level. You keep everything. Some of the gear that you get is only available in the season. Some of it does get added to the general loot pool after the season.
Okay. I'm just trying to, because someone made a comparison to Tarkov's wipe system to seasons in Diablo, and so I was trying to.
You keep your character. It just gets added to the non-seasonal pool.
Correct.
Afterwards.
And then, but in all fairness, though, when you start the next season, you can reuse the same character, but it wipes it clean. You're level 0. You don't get to just like equip all of that awesome gear.
It's not like New Game Plus.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, because that's the number one complaint about Tarkov, is that every 6 months, 7 months, they wipe everyone's accounts and everyone starts back to 0, and you have to start all over again. And I say how like I look forward to that, because like they make changes to the game, they add new content, they move loot, they add new gear. So it's like a semi-fresh, fresh start in a game that you're already familiar with. And so you build it up faster. You get all the stuff knocked out faster. You already know what you're doing. You know the hot spots. You know where to go. But then it's like, oh, that's new. Oh, that's different. And so I was just curious because someone compared to the seasons. That's when you said that. I was like, oh, wait, I asked that question to you.
So these seasons are very on the rails, right? There's a very systematic way to progress. There's a efficient way, and that's the other thing. So a lot of this isn't so much about, I guess you want to say the experience. It's more of like a world's first race almost. Not quite on that scale, but the idea is who can reach this point fastest, who can progress the furthest, because there's an activity called rifts and greater rifts. So how far in those greater rifts, and each greater rift has a level to it, right? How far in the greater rifts can you push? Can this build push, 20s, 30s, 40, whatever. So the object is to run through the story or be as efficient as possible in leveling, get to your levels, get gear, and start grinding greater rifts, and to see how far you can push it. And there's a ladder, and it's, that's the competition that you see. So that's why the reset is like a leaderboard reset.
Yeah.
Which is what's so appealing about it.
Yep, I get that. I like progression. I like seeing my character level up and, hit level whatever, and then you do that thing 5% more, better Like I enjoy those in games, and that's on, some games don't have that, and I feel like that's one of the appealing. It lacks the appeal to me. I dabbled with No Man's Sky again this last week in my variety, little shindig that I was doing, and I love the way No Man's Sky looks. I love the sounds. I love the whole vibe of No Man's Sky, but there's no player progression. There's no skills. The only quote unquote progression is with the factions. So I'm picking up missions and doing missions with them to like level them up. But I don't even know how much that affects like the missions and rewards you get later.
Have you ever played Diablo?
I never played Diablo. Never played any of them.
It's actually it's a good playthrough.
Add it to your queue, man.
Yeah, well, yeah, I should. I definitely should. And when I go down that road,
and
I'll
you
figure
can
out
co-op or single player too. So
yep. And I believe Diablo 2 didn't they just come out with a seasonal reset thing?
The remaster,
yeah, D2R.
Yes.
Yeah. So there you go. But you can do it for both.
D2 is a different animal altogether, though, than D3.
I wouldn't recommend.
D3 is the way to go. D2 is capitalizing on the same thing WoW Classic is, which is the folks that want to relive the past.
I think that worked.
Not for new players.
No, I totally agree with you, and I think them trying to turn D2R into like a regular thing is not a good look. I think that's a mistake. People bought D2R.
Even Wayne stopped playing, and Wayne was that's their demo. That's their target market.
That's their target audience, 1,000%. And you buy it for the nostalgic trip, right? It's great. You have fun. It was just an amazing experience. I got to play it. It looks awesome. It brought all those memories back. It was cool, and I'm done with it. Thank you. I will come back and revisit it maybe in a year.
Yep.
And that's all it was for, and really, they should have. Well, who knows what's going on with the development of Diablo 4, but they should have kind of lined. That would have been crazy hype. Well, actually, now that I think about it, they probably did that to hype up Diablo Immortal, and that just fell apart on them. The way they lined up the releases.
Yeah, I mean, like Diablo Immortal was their big monetary push. Remember that BlizzCon where they got lit on fire?
What a backfire! Mm-hmm. Can we just do honestly, people wouldn't have given a shit, and everyone said it. I don't really read much gaming journalism because I think on the whole it's trash. But if they just didn't announce it at BlizzCon, just if you did not announce it at BlizzCon, it would not have gone the way it went.
You could have even announced it at BlizzCon. Just don't make it the feature announcement for Diablo. Like that was the problem. People wanted Diablo 4, not Diablo Mobile.
Everyone's got a phone, right?
Take.
I think
such a bad take.
That was the problem, and that was what made it
a meme.
So negative was the attitude that well, this is better than Diablo 4 because you can play it on your phone. And it was like, no, that's not what we want. EA made some huge announcement. I think it was yesterday about or day before, sometime this week. They're like, we're working with Middle Earth games and blah blah blah, and we can't wait to bring this game to your phone. And I'm like, stop taking my favorite IPs and putting them on mobile when you did nothing but trash the Lord of the Rings IP with the games after you made those phenomenal the Two Towers and Return of the King games. You remember those?
Mm-hmm.
Those games were amazing.
Yeah.
And then they made that one turn-based RPG that I was like, all right, it's Middle Earth, so I hate turn-based RPGs, but I'll play it, and I enjoyed it because it was Middle Earth. And then they were supposed to come out with that White Council game that was an open world RPG, and they canceled it. And now all I hear is like, oh, here's this Lord of the Rings mobile game, this Game of Thrones mobile game, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, stop. You have these vast worlds that already have lore fleshed out. It shouldn't be that hard to make an open world RPG in Middle Earth or Westeros. It really should not be that hard. But apparently, it's very difficult.
It's not. It writes itself.
Right. You don't have to hire writers. You don't have to create a world. It's all done for you. Just write a compelling story.
I mean, you say that, but Shadow of War was, and the sequel kind of made everybody angry. No.
Well, but dude, the Nemesis system in that, how do you hate on the Nemesis system?
Well, the lore was bad in those games. The games themselves are really good games.
That's what I mean. The games were I think the games were pretty good.
The lore was garbage. Like they made Shelob turn into a woman at one point. It was just, I don't know what they were thinking. And, I'm shocked the Tolkien estate let that out because they're usually super protective of the IP. But
who was it? That was Warner Brothers, but who's?
I don't think the Tolkien estate had control over that, if I remember correctly.
it's that I'd have to look that up because the Tolkien estate up until Chris died, which was only like a year or two ago, had full yay or nay on everything. Now it's being sold off for parts, as you can see.
Ugh.
And hopefully, I am excited for the Amazon show. I am cautiously optimistic about the Amazon show.
Yeah, I really don't trust Amazon. I think it could
I
be
just
great.
know it can be messed up, but
yeah,
I've never read Wheel of Time, but I enjoyed Wheel of Time. I really did. I thought it was a fun show, but the people that read the books said they rushed way too quickly to the point that they went to in season 1. I don't know the difference, so I just enjoyed it for what it was. So I hope that with this show, there's something for the hardcore fans, and there's something for the folks that are maybe not so into the lore and not really understanding it. The level of complexity in the era that they're bringing to life is deep, and there's a lot to follow, and there's like a bajillion characters. So I'm interested to see how they do that, because Game of Thrones started off doing it great, but then they got lazy towards the end, and tried to just convene all the storylines in a way that suited them, not us, which was the problem with the last season. The story of the final season of Game of Thrones is not a bad idea. It's the way it was executed and presented to us, and how we got to those series of events that I think all of us hated. So I'm just hoping they don't do that with Lord of the Rings. Like, take your time. You could have a 10-year plus franchise on your hands if you do it right.
Easy.
Yeah. Where's the time? What's the timeline for the show?
It's like the second age. So it's like the part of the Silmarillion, which is essentially the Bible of Middle Earth, if you will.
So prequel. It's like a prequel.
Yeah, it's thousands of years before.
Oh, okay.
What we've seen.
They're extrapolating a lot of sentences.
Yeah, it's. I mean, they have to, because there's a lot of stuff they pull from that's unfinished work and notes, and even Chris Tolkien, his son, filled in a lot of it. So we'll see. We'll know in September what the deal is. You'll know very quickly which way that's going to go. I think by the end of the first episode. Also, Game of Thrones. Oh, I didn't even have that on my show notes. Game of Thrones announced August. So we'll talk about that in a second.
It looked really bad.
For the releases for this year or this summer, Mario Strikers Battle League. Mike, we can play that with the boys.
Yes.
I'm excited about that one. Yeah, it's a soccer one. I love Mario Strikers. Such fun games. I've been playing tennis with Hunter. We've been having a good time. We actually moved.
Did you guys get Lego Star Wars?
Not Jedi. We've been playing Lego Star Wars. We're almost done with Empire. The Quarry, Mike. The 2K game, the summer camp one. Did you not see the trailer for this?
No.
It's Until Dawn, but not again.
Yeah, it's Supermassive's version of the Until Dawn storytelling.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, hell yeah.
So
I'm
excited.
in. Dude,
Yeah,
I'm
so
in.
Yeah, look at the trailer, Mike.
What
go look at it.
What is it?
The Quarry.
Like the rocks thing?
Yeah, Quarrry. This one looks like something Paul would enjoy. AI, the Somnium Files, Nirvana Initiative. No clue.
I don't have a clue, so it's probably not that important to me.
The Capcom Fighting Collection looks fun. It's characters from Darkstalkers, Night Warriors, Vampire Savior, Vampire Hunter 2, Vampire Savior 2, Red Earth, Cyberbot, Super Puzzle Fighter 2 Turbo, Hyper Street Fighter 2, and Super Gem Fighter Mini Mix. Yeah, so it looks like chibi versions of all of the characters from those games, and I guess they'll duke it out. Again, something I'm going to skip. Fire Emblem Warriors 3 Hopes. I know there's a ton of people excited about it. Not my cup of tea. Cuphead, The Last Delicious Course. I got my ass kicked in the first Cuphead game. I never beat it, but Ben and I are going to jump into this on one of the Rare Job streams and screw around with it. But nice. I got my ass handed to me trying to play Cuphead. That game is very hard. And Clintus, I'd love your 2 cents. The DLC for Outriders.
I've never played it.
You didn't dive into Outriders. Why not?
No, I'm trying to remember the time it came out. I think I was super into Tarkov. I think it's when I've been playing Tarkov off and on since 2017. In fact, I went back again, nostalgia. Went back to old videos and clips when I first started playing Tarkov, learning the mechanics. I think when this game came out, because I was part of the creator thing, they were sending me stuff, and I think I played an early access beta that I couldn't stream or something like that. So like that was kind of a turn off. I dabbled with it. It was like, okay, it's a sci-fi division or supernatural division. It looks good. It looks like I would enjoy it. I just never got into it. And then I know this DLC is coming out and people have been talking like, hey, you should try Outriders. And so
Mike and I played it together. It was fun. Like, and we even did cross-platform. He was on PC, I was on Xbox. Like, it was fun.
I think
there was just nothing keeping me there. That was my issue. And solo play was not good. It all
had
about
potential.
Really?
Yeah.
It definitely it has potential. It didn't feel like there was enough like meat on the bones there for me. Really? Potential cool atmosphere. I like the abilities. I would like to see more diversity in weapons and things like that. And maybe there is. I haven't gone back since launch really. But it just didn't feel meaty enough for me. There wasn't enough to dive in and really keep me there. I like the builds, and I can see it turning into something very good. I don't really trust Squeenix that much, so their ability to keep a title around and give it what it needs is lackluster. So I don't trust them to do the right thing by the title, so it's probably why I didn't invest a whole lot into it. Or because it didn't keep me at first, I don't foresee them making it better.
Yeah.
But I hope they do. I would come back.
Yeah, I'd give it a whirl if people are like, this game's incredible now.
Yeah, if they said the update was insane, I would re-download.
Yeah, I would just find some people. I would find some people to play it with, Clintus, if you're going to dive into it.
And I do. I have some buddies that have been playing. In fact, they got one of our buddies into to play it, hearing about the new update. So is this a standalone new game, or is it a DLC to the existing one?
This says DLC.
It's a DLC.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's technically an improved version of the existing Outriders experience with an all-new campaign, additional gear, fresh ways to customize and build your character, and more. But at the same time, it's still Outriders, is what it says in the description.
Got it.
I don't know.
I mean, I would.
I mean,
be
I could
board.
test it
probably
and bring it back to you also.
If you want to, you can.
Yeah, I mean, and all my friends still play it, so.
F1 22 is coming out. This is EA just bought this franchise, so I'm interested to see how that community receives that. So we'll see. They probably use the money they save from not paying FIFA to.
Welcome to Loot Box Central.
They did announce this week that EAFC is the next game. It's not going to be FIFA anymore. Xenoblade Chronicles 3. I know a ton of people will be excited about that. Again, not my cup of tea. Are either of you Xenoblade people?
Yeah, I've never played a Xenoblade.
Okay. And then the one I'm excited about is the Saints Row reboot. So they're rebooting the series with a new characters, new story, in the same vein, and starting from scratch, essentially with next gen abilities and hardware. So I'm excited for that one because the first two Saints Row games I loved. I've actually been told that 3 is the best. So maybe, I don't know if they remaster or something. Maybe I'll go back and play it. I don't know. But
I've never played Saints Row either.
Oh my God, Mike, you'd love Saints Row. It's
really?
like a really exaggerated version of GTA.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, that's what Saints Row is. So it's definitely worth screwing around if you can. 100% would recommend Saints Row. And I'm gonna dive into that one. I just gotta beat Valhalla. Once I beat Valhalla, the door opens up. And I know I'm not gonna do this, but I would love to play the Arkham games again before Gotham Knight comes out. But that's a whole. Which, by the way, did you guys see the gameplay trailer for that?
I didn't.
It's I linked it to you yesterday or the night before, Mike. It's 13 minutes of gameplay with Nighthawk and Red Hood. It definitely reminiscent of the Arkham games, but definitely a much faster combat system from what I can tell, which makes sense because they're all younger than Batman and not as tough. People are up in arms about Red Hood, the really like uber annoying nerds. So they made
people.
You can do your grapple hook shot like every other Batman game with all the characters, but apparently they each have different ways of traversing the city in addition to that. So they showed Nightwing's, which was he has like this drone that he holds onto and flies across. And then they showed Red Hood's, and he uses like the Lazarus Pit energy to like jump from point to point. And people were like, why does Red Hood have magical power? I'm like, bro, let's level for a second. Homeboy was fucking killed by the Joker and then came back because somebody put him in a green pit of goo that was from ancient Egypt and he was resurrected. I think we can get over the fact that he can jump from building to building using the same energy. Thanks. God, I hate nerds sometimes. It's like when people when they the Holdo maneuver in episode is it 8 or 9? I don't remember, of Star Wars, and they're like, scientifically and with physics that's not possible. I'm like, yo, you talking about the same universe where people have invisible space magic? Is that the one? Is that the one we're talking about right now?
No, Kevin. No.
For those of us listening, Kevin's face.
It's not allowed.
They make me irate. It's like arguing physics in a world where there's space wizards. It just blows my mind. Yeah. In addition to that, Clintus, I regret to inform you that right before we went live, Bethesda announced that Starfield is delayed till 2020.
I heard. Yeah.
So
Is that game ever coming out? Let's be real.
Yeah, I mean it's on that same path of Elder. So you guys know about Elder Scrolls Grandma on I think she's on YouTube.
No. Oh yeah. Yes,
she's like almost 80, and she's
Yes.
like obsessed with Skyrim, and she loves the Elder Scrolls games. She literally sent a message to Todd Howard at Bethesda, like, "Look, I'm gonna die soon. Can you get me Elder Scrolls 6?
Can you please hurry this up?
Because I want to play it before I die."
Good for her.
Did you know she's an NPC too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. She's they made her an NPC in Elder Scrolls. So.
Yeah, they have to. I mean, why couldn't you? But yeah, it's always amusing to me that. But yeah, it's delayed, Clintus. So I'm sorry you won't get to experience Starfield this year. I am excited for that game. I'm excited to watch someone like you play it. Did you play Fallout? I know you're not an Elder Scrolls person, but did you play Fallout games?
I played Fallout 4 when it first came out, or actually it wasn't first. I watched my friends play it, and I was like, ooh, okay, this looks cool. I like the aesthetic, kind of like steampunk-ish, post-apocalyptic. But once I got into, I don't know, I got maybe like 2 or 3 streams into it, the gunplay was just weird. Like the targeting system and the way that it worked kind of turned me off a little bit. And again, this was years ago where I was still like FPS, PvP, like it didn't hold on to me.
Bethesda gets better with combat as their games go along, but Bethesda games are not known for their combat. Does that make sense?
True.
Bethesda are pure. They're like BioWare used to be back in the day. They're really good storytellers, really good world builders, and they're very good with characters and people, places, and things. Combat, as I said, it gets better from game to game. Like if you go back to Morrowind versus Skyrim, the combat is like, I remember trying to jump on ledges in Morrowind was like a task, and if you pulled out the third person, sometimes your character would be there with their legs in the air trying to get up on the ledge, like stuck in the corner. So it's, as technology improves, they're able to improve things. But don't go into Starfield, and I'm speaking only as a person that's played other Bethesda games. Don't go into Starfield expecting this like combat rich experience. Go into it for the world, the people, the places, the things that you'll see. And I have a feeling you'll enjoy it a lot more, because anyone who goes into a Bethesda game expecting like this legendary, groundbreaking content when it comes to combat is going to be sorely disappointed, because that is not their forte. But they're great games. Like Skyrim's one of my favorite games of all time.
Well, and that's what they're comparing. Like even the people there, like the video. I've been watching a lot of the videos with the development team. Is like it's Skyrim in space, and they're going deeper with the player progression and the factions and stuff like that they weren't able to do in their previous games. And like I said, I've definitely in the last couple of years evolved as a gamer. Like I'm enjoying survival games and enjoying like slower gameplay. Like I said, really enjoying No Man's Sky. Even though I feel like it's just an open world, you can kind of do whatever you want, and there's no real objective. Like there's missions and there's a story to kind of follow, but at the end of the day, I'm like, what's the end game? And everyone's like, gather money to buy better ships and have a fleet of ships and just be able to do whatever you want whenever you want. And so like the single player RPG, even though it's always been a thing that kind of turned me off, because I'm like, where's the players? Where's the PvP? Where's the co-op? I'm definitely more like, okay, I'm looking forward to this, because I loved Cyberpunk. I really did enjoy Cyberpunk, and I really didn't have that many bugs and issues. I mean, of course, there were some visual bugs and some weird stuff, but like, that's easy for me to like just forget about, like overlook. I love the aesthetic of Cyberpunk, and it was one of the first games. I know Fallout had this, and I did do this a little bit. I just never played all the way through. Cyberpunk was one of the first games that I can remember in many, many years where I literally listened to every dialogue because I had to choose, A, B, or C, and A, B, or C
it affected everything you did after that.
Exactly.
That's the BioWare and Bethesda magic, and you'll see that in Starfield and Elder Scrolls, like you'll make a decision, and obviously CD Projekt Red does it good too. You'll make a decision in I'm assuming based on Fallout and Elder Scrolls, you'll make a decision and then you'll go to another town like 6 days later, and someone's going to comment on the decision that you made previously, and you completely forgot you made that decision. That's the magic in those games, is that, you know, the world is persistent based on what you do. Have you ever played Witcher?
Nope.
Next lull you have, if you have the time, I highly recommend playing Witcher. It's essentially third person cyberpunk, but high fantasy. Well, dark fantasy, right, Mike? Not really high fantasy.
Yeah.
I would play Witcher. Witcher is a treat and a half.
I've heard, nothing but good things.
That became one of my top 5 games of all time after I finished it. It's just such a and Cyberpunk took the cues from Witcher, which is, you know, how we got there. I need to beat Cyberpunk, but again,
I'm still holding off for the No Man's Sky treatment. I'm really waiting for that 2.0 re-release of Cyberpunk, or, you know, here's a whole new DLC that just radically changes the game and adds content. Like, I mean, there's still rumors of an online version, you know, like an open world online version. So we'll see.
Mike, did you know Slipnot is now playable in Smite?
What?
So Loudwire, this comes from Loudwire. Slipknot are wasting no time diving into their Notverse, partnering with Titanforge Games to bring the Nine as playable characters within the popular Smite multiplayer online battle game.
Stop.
Yep, there's a trailer for it and everything. The whole band is in the game.
Did they just have the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Yeah.
Dude. So I stopped
Slipknot.
playing Smite. I love MOBAs, and I liked Smite. I enjoyed it, especially, you know, I didn't mind their market because it's free to play. I didn't mind all the skins, and they were easily attainable, I thought, and I was okay with all their systems they put in. As soon as they started implementing ads into it, I was like, nope, I'm out. Immediately uninstalled. I'm never going back.
I think you need to at least watch this trailer because, like, you know,
I'm absolutely watching
the
the
names
trailer
of the guys in Slipknot, but, like, you know, the guitar is an axe, clown is, like, you know, banging drums and making things come. It's just,
I'm absolutely watching this. This is going to be amazing.
So yeah, if you're into Smite and you like metal, Slipknot's in the game now. Which I find very
Smite is trying to be the Fortnite of MOBAs, and I don't know if it's working or if it's backfiring. Because
if they keep doing it, then it's working. That's the way I see it. Like, you're not. I mean,
if they're able to spend money like that to get Slipknot in their game,
licensing is not cheap.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles in their game, it's not just original stuff that they're doing. They are licensing shit. So yeah, not cheap. I'm sure they're successful. I'm sure a lot of that advertising is working for them. I just cannot get behind. I can't get behind targeted ads in a game, man. I will not support. I don't care if it's free to play or not. I just cannot get behind ads in a game. I don't.
Let me
think
ask you
that's a
something.
Yeah,
this is an interesting question for you then. And Clintus, you can chime in here too. We work with a partner who essentially can take a game engine and customize inside of it. So think of a Counter-Strike tournament.
Mm-hmm.
They'll go in and they'll plaster ads all over the wall. Like, from our perspective, you know, the thing that we've spoken to them about is, can you put, you know, like the logo of the nonprofit? Can you put QR codes for people to scan if it comes up on the screen, you know, to donate? But obviously they have a for-profit model that includes working with advertisers. Would that affect your enjoyment of the game if you were playing a game like COD or something and you ran by a wall and there was a Pepsi logo on the wall?
To that degree, no. It's not a predatory ad that's jumping on my screen, you know, in between loading into a lobby, right?
Okay.
As I'm ready to load into a lobby, before I get into the loading screen, I'm smacked with, you know, I don't know, some bullshit advertisement, like a YouTube ad, right? That rolls beforehand.
One's the sports arena model, and the other one's a forced, you know, TV
Correct.
kind of idea.
Yeah.
What do you think?
If it's a
Clintus?
passive, if somebody wants to pay to have their logo spray painted on a wall somewhere within the game, that it's a passive. It's not affecting my gameplay. It's not some more wait time that I have, and it's not it's not like a predatory sale, right? It's not gathering my info and kicking out something. It's not collecting all my data and saying, oh, this is a targeted blah, blah, blah to this individual. No, stop it. I would rather pay you to play your game. I would rather buy the game off of you to not experience that. I would have gladly done that if Smite came out and said we have a paid version and a free version. The free version is adless. We don't have any of this shit. Maybe they do. Maybe they did do that. I don't know. Last I heard, though, they were implementing these ads, and it is what it is. I would rather pay. Granted, I would rather buy the game than have to deal with that personally.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yeah. I feel the same way. Like, again, the way the first example you put in where like it's just on the wall, I think that's super cool. I love when games are able to inject and modify things. Like PUBG did that a while ago with like when they did their first big tournament, they put the like logos and the names of the creators that were playing in the tournament. Like my buddy Stat was in there, so I'm running around and I see his logo on the wall in PUBG. I was like, that's awesome. I think that's super cool. But yeah, kind of like what Mike was saying, where you're loading into a game and all of a sudden you see an actual bona fide ad that you would see on like a Google or YouTube. That's weird. But with that being said, I'm 100%. I'm a fan of supporting whoever it is, right? So like I'm obviously being a creator, ad revenue is a big part of my revenue and my livelihood. I have Twitch Turbo, so I don't see ads on Twitch, but everybody gets paid. I have YouTube Premium, so I never see ads on YouTube, but everybody gets paid. Like I'm a fan of that model. So I'm the same way. If they said, hey, we have a free version that's ad generated, or we have a paid version that's ad free, like mobile games all the time. I'll play a game a little bit, and if the ads start getting a little annoying because they're excessive, I'll pay the 99 cents, the $2.99, whatever it is, to get rid of the ads so I can enjoy the game without any interruptions. I'm 100% behind that.
And it's also, you're talking now about a model of inconvenience. We're going to inconvenience you to a point, so we're creating a problem that didn't exist before, and we're going to sell you the remedy. Mm-hmm. And so we're going to create such an inconvenience for you that it's going to benefit you to go ahead and solve the problem by paying us that we've already created on top of the market that's already installed in the game to help support everyone. You know what I mean?
I like choice. Yeah.
If they came out and said, hey, we have a $60 version of the game, you get these heroes, and you get a couple skins, and you get access to the game, and then we're going to sell you a season pass, and then we're also going to sell you the market because they also have a loot box system. So on top of that, you have the loot box system. If I would pay to have that game, and whatever they want to stack on top, okay, that's the way the industry's going. But to have all of that stuff where there is still a pass, they still have a season pass, they still have cosmetics, there's still loot boxes, and all these other, you have to essentially, you don't get every hero, so there's heroes that you have to obtain in one way or another. And then on top of that, we're going to add ads. It's just, it's like, where are we drawing the line here? I say that, and apparently no one's crossed it because the game is doing fantastic, and they are able to pay Slipnot to have them in their game. So clearly it's working. Kudos to them. It's just not something I want to support, and so I immediately uninstalled the game and I had it on PC and Switch, and I just deleted it on both.
So yeah, I know with sports games, for me, one thing I noticed is back in the day, obviously they didn't have licensing for brands and whatnot, or not licensing, I should say. The brands probably wouldn't pay to have their stuff in the game. Now they do, and the authenticity of it actually increases, as terrible as that sounds, having real brands in these games on, like, when you're playing FIFA and the digital video boards on the top that have those ads in real life. You play like PES and it's all fake ads. If you play FIFA or EAFC now, the ads are real. They're for real brands. Like there's ads for Twitch, there's ads for AutoZone, just stuff like that. So it's essentially grounded in real life when you bring that stuff in. I just wanted your take on the differences, but I 100% agree with you. This comes from Video Game Chronicle. Nintendo says the transitions to its next console is a major concern. Nintendo president has said that the company's eventual transition away from Switch to its next hardware platform is a major concern for the company.
Yeah. How could it be possibly as successful?
Yeah, I'm gonna read this. It's interesting. Speaking during a Japanese investor Q&A this week, Furukawa said the company planned to alleviate the risks of resetting its 100 million plus user base by building long-term relationships with its users, partly via Nintendo accounts and by using its IP outside of gaming. Furukawa was replying to a question about how Nintendo has been able to maintain a strong game release schedule 6 years into Switch's life cycle. I can't believe Switch has been out for 6 years.
6 years,
Wow.
damn.
And what his thoughts were on transitioning to its next hardware platform. In recent history, Nintendo followed up big successes such as Wii and DS with significantly less popular successors, Wii U, 3DS. And Furukawa said the company was mindful of these experiences. We've already announced a portion of our software roadmap releasing up till next spring, he said. Unlike the past, we continue to have a large variety of games scheduled to be released, even beyond 5 years of release. This is because the Switch has had such a smooth launch, allowing us to focus all of our development resources on a single platform. However, the question of whether we will be able to just as smoothly transition from the Nintendo Switch to the next generation of hardware is a major concern for us. Based on our experiences and the Wii, DS, and other hardware, it is very clear that one of the major obstacles is how to easily transition from one hardware to the next. So without reading the whole article, you can do it at Video Game Chronicle. We've hit the point where the hardware is good enough that it can last a decade plus, but they've depended on these revenues of reselling as hardware every 7 years. That, you know, games now take much longer to make than they did back in the day. So you have all of these, you know, speaking of Gotham Knights, they announced during the announcement that it's not coming out on PS4 and Xbox One. They're just going to focus on next gen and PC. And that's interesting to me. So I think when it comes to hardware and the life cycles we're seeing, you're going to see expanded life cycles, upgraded versions of the hardware. We had the OLED Switch come out. You know, there's already talk of a PS5 Pro, even though people can't get their damn hands on a PS5. And I'm sure Xbox will respond. So curious to hear both of your thoughts as we go in. Like, are we going to start to see 10-year life cycles for a console with just enhanced versions of it?
Well, the biggest thing, I think the biggest thing right now is we just need to get away from physical games. If your entire library is digital and, you know, let's say they're designed to be played on, like, say 4K, right? 4K is becoming the new standard, the new HD. Then switching hardware shouldn't be as big of a deal because you just re-download your library or the games work on any console beyond that, you know? I think that's where the big limitation was, where it was like, okay, cool. Like, one of the things they advertised with, like, PS5 and these games or these consoles was like, oh, they're backwards compatible. You can play your old games from PlayStation 4 or, you know, when 4 came out, it was like 3. If it's all digital, everything's in the cloud, everything's downloadable, and it's just about hard drive space, then switching consoles isn't as big of a deal. That's what the problem, though, is if you can't play those old games, and the moment you buy a new console, all those old games, you have to have 2 consoles now or whatever. I think it's always been the big hurdle with new consoles is that leap of, like, all your games aren't completely, you know, you're just getting better graphics.
Right.
In my opinion, I think that's the biggest for in the history of looking back is that's the big jump was, like, the game stayed at the console level.
Yeah. You always saved your consoles, right? You saved your PS3 because you had your PS3 games. You saved your, you know, N64. Well, Nintendo's different because they always had weird and, like, the way that they sold you had everything from mini discs to cartridge to what do they have now? Fucking micro USB cards. Cartridges. Yeah, they're an outlier. I like the idea of expanded lifecycle hardware. Maybe I'm just an outdated shit gamer. I don't know why. I like, even to this day, I tangibly like to hold my hard case. Whether it's a digital code inside or not, I like having the hard case of the game. I put it on my shelf. I don't know why. I enjoy that. So I like having the physical things. That being said, I'm not much of a console gamer. I have the consoles, minus the current gen. But I like the idea.
Model. The subscription model seems to be where
for
gaming
hardware?
is headed.
For
in
hardware?
general, for Xbox, for
Xbox,
PlayStation.
the Game Pass is such a stupid good.
Right. And PlayStation's responding. I don't know if you guys got the email, but they have 3 tiers now of membership. One includes games. I don't think Steam will do it anytime soon, but you have Origin, you have Ubisoft, you have all of these launchers on PC that have a subscription service now. And if that is the model going forward, that's profitable, that means hardware has to last longer.
Mm-hmm.
Because the subscription model, which is, Mike, you're not the target customer, but you said a key word there. You said Game Pass's values like ridiculous.
Its value's insane. If you present value like Game Pass, and don't get me wrong, I do not think Microsoft is good guy Microsoft. They're a company, and they, it's a corporation. It is what it is. But this particular product in its current state, as it stands right now, is such a great value. It's silly not to have it, right? And if PlayStation could follow suit, you could easily justify, jumping in for a sub. The only thing that worries me is, everything is a damn subscription now, man. Everything about my life is a subscription model. Fucking everything. And it's to a point now where we're spending so much because everything's got its own. You can't just go and subscribe to, Verizon TV subscription and get all the stuff where you used to you do that with your cable bill, right? And it was a package. Now it's like, oh no, you want Paramount shit? Well, Paramount owns this and this and this. They're the parent company. So nope, you got to spend $10 here, and there's shit Netflix this and that, and HBO Max, and if you watch this show that used to be on cable, you got to subscribe to this network, and before you know it, I'm 50, 60, 70. Speaking of which, I happened to go through my subscriptions the other day, and I just saved myself $90 a month by canceling shit I didn't even watch. $90 that I did not even know was going out the window. Fucking Amazon, man. Why am I subscribed $8 a month to Noggin fucking Junior? I didn't even know that was there. Didn't even know I was subscribed to it. $90 a month I saved because I looked into where these places were automatically signing me up and hitting my card. It's the subscription model is getting fucking out of hand. Quick.
I can tell you how that happened. Either Allie or Grayson was watching
one show.
They went on Prime and they hit the button because all they ask you for is your code, like your parental code. So if you click it and it's a buy show, it automatically subscribes you. We went through this with Stars. Dude, Danielle wanted to watch something on Stars, and then all of a sudden they're pinging us $5 a month for Stars.
It's everything, dude. If I want access to a website, $10 a month subscription model.
Yep.
It's getting out of hand society wise. For gaming, I do think it makes sense because there's so much in the world of gaming, and it's console fan wars, right? Console wars. It's always been there, and this I think kind of follows suit, so I can see it. It's a great value on one end. I haven't really looked into PlayStation's, but
Microsoft is doing a great job of getting their third-party studio games in front of people through the subscription service, which means in a lot of cases people are going to buy skins, DLC, add-ons, all of the stuff that you don't get with Game Pass. Like when you get Destiny on Game Pass, you do 10 missions and then it's like buy the season pass or else you can't do shit. So there's a lot of games like that, but then it's mixed in with those single player RPG experiences and whatnot that you can just pop in. It's covered under your account and you're good to go, and you can enjoy it. So it is a good mix. I agree with you. I think it's the way to go and the way forward. So I'm excited about it. As we see the development of it, I think that your hardware is going to last longer, because the last thing, if these subscription services continue, this is just to round this out, your hardware is going to get to a point where you're going to say, well, I don't need the next gen right away because it still works with what I have, which is what a lot of people did with PS4 and Xbox One.
Yep.
Now the new games 2 or 3 years later are starting to say, like, we're not going to release our game on this. And that's okay, because you've had fair warning. It's not like the old days where you either got some crap version of the game for a previous gen, or it just didn't come out for previous gen. We're down the road now, thankfully. So we'll see how things develop. But for Nintendo, because it's not based on graphics, it's always based on innovation. It's a different animal altogether. So I'm interested to see what they do with the Switch. I like my OLED Switch. I know, Mike, you have one too.
I love my OLED Switch. I'll tell you what,
easier.
For me, mobile gaming is not really an option. I don't like playing on my phone. I use it for so many other things. I don't like the gaming on it. But I'll tell you this much, mobile gaming to me is my Switch. That's what mobile gaming looks like. And I would buy that. And I said it before, I'll say it again. I think PSP and PS Vita were ahead of their time. They just launched too early. They were ahead of their time, man. If they launched today, it would sell like fucking crazy. I would buy that in a heartbeat. And the Steam Deck, I would buy that. And that is mobile gaming to me. And I would 100% invest in that hardware in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I mean, Stadia, if it wasn't completely botched, was a great
Correct,
idea with horrendous execution. So, I mean, it works. All right, before we get out of here, they did release the trailer for Love, Death, and Robots, which ironically was like how we re-kicked things off. So the trailer is out for season 3. They literally go through every episode and show you the theme. Lots of familiar animation from the previous 2 seasons. Lots of interesting stuff. The 3 robots are back from the first episode.
Yeah.
Fan favorites.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. But May 20th, which is 2 weeks from now. So on next Friday, it's going to come out. So that week of the 23rd is when we are going to cover it on Old Fashioned. So we'll blow through that. But the trailer is out if you want to go check it out. Follow along. Next Friday it releases, so I'll probably pound through it that weekend, and then we'll all have a little roundtable discussion about what we thought. But it looks like new, fresh, and cool, but it also looks familiar at the same time.
Right.
Just because it does seem to be the same animators. Also, this golden like lady with the jewels with the conquistador people looks freaky as fuck.
I can't wait.
I know you're so excited. I can tell. I can tell. Thank you so much for listening to episode 32 of the Old Fashioned Podcast. Ironically, once again, we did not get to all the topics we wanted to discuss today.
Let me hit the super speed news though, because it's really funny, and Mike really wanted it last week.
Okay.
Antarctica's Penguin Post Office is actually hiring. It's a remote post office in Antarctica. It's sorting mail, selling postage stamps, and counting penguins. So if that sounds like it's a fun job for you, go apply. And if you get the job, please add us on Twitter, because that'd be hilarious. Otherwise, and then there's also a Texas district with a graduating class featuring 35 pairs of twins and 1 set of triplets. So we don't know how that happened either. It's a great time.
What are you drinking down there?
It's Texas. So anyway, outside of that, Kevin, keep going and finish wrapping up.
No, that was Texas.
Yeah, I mean,
there you
Texas.
go. I solved the mystery for you. But thank you for listening. You can check out @Clintus everywhere on everywhere. That's what he is. Just type it in, it'll pop up. Make sure you go follow him and sub to him on Twitch. And Mike, you could just type Mike into Google and see if you can find him. How's that sound? I like that. You see if you can find Mike by typing Mike into Google. And if you can, sick. And me, everything I do is Rare Drop. So go over to raredrop.co, click around. You can listen to old episodes of Old Fashioned, new episodes of comics, Star Wars and Scotch, Bromance Show, whatever you're into, we got it. Raredrop.co. We'll see you next week for episode 33 of the Old Fashioned Podcast. But until then, we need like a sign off, Mike. And I feel like
it's all
you want to like cheers. You want cheers? I was going to do Stay Gold Pony Boy. How's that sound?
Ooh, a little Outsiders. Okay. Okay.
Well, at least for this week, that's the sign off. It'll change next week. But stay gold, Pony Boy.